What's good with YouTube? You already know Big Black with a compass perspective. Now you already know what town it is, coming directly from the county jail, smashing, dashing, sliding on through with a whole lot of energy. So please hit the like, subscribe, comment, as well as hit that bell notification for future fire content. And we got one today, guys, some fire content, man. Once again, Ronald Jadell is once again, man, another person to the topic. Now, we're going to be discussing about the Pinell Yogi murder based upon some information that the prosecutors tried to file a motion to dismiss being used, right, which was a former AB member who had debriefed named Gary Littrell. Okay, the government moved in Lamont to prevent the defense from introducing out-of-state statements by a deceased non-party. Now, a lot of us have talked about the killing of Yogi Pinell, right? Based on the fact that he was a longtime BGF member, affiliate of George Jackson, was there, back in August of 1971, Black August with George Jackson, all that stuff that happened. He's a historical figure, and he was one of the most hated figures by the AP. There's no mistakes that they have tried to kill him numerous times, and Yogi was one of those ones that would talk shit behind the door, and he was a cell soldier, but he would back up his shit, though. Don't get it twisted. And as we know, he was killed in 2015, and the thing I think that when it happened, right, I'm not sure if it was August or July of 2015, but I think it was actually in August of 2015, which was pretty much a slap to, the African-American movement behind the walls that, have any type of political or prison gang affiliation with any African movement, okay? Now, we always said, okay, the reasons why he was killed. Now, this gives a little bit more information about why he was killed, as well as, what the process that they went about it. I always wondered why, did the AB just make this move on him right away, or did they get at his people first? Did his people throw him under the bus? And this is going to, potentially open eyes. Like I said, potentially. Like I said, this is all just in court, records. And basically what it is it's stuff that came from Gary Littrell's debriefing account of the incident, statements he made previously when he got kind of paranoid. He thought he was next on the hit list, and he went to debrief, and he ended up getting sick, and he passed away. So let's discuss this case, and then it's for you guys to decide what you think. I think this maybe gives us a little bit more information to maybe almost render a judgment of what we think happened. If anything, you can make a hypothesis and arguments for what you potentially think. Now, here we go. The government charged Jadell and several co-defendants with violations of the RICO Act. Whoa. It alleged Jadell was among the leaders of the Aryan Brotherhood, a white prison gang. Among other charges of drug trafficking in the California prison, the government Jadell committed murder in the aid of racketeering. The victim of alleged murder was the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation was a longtime member of a different prison gang made up of black inmates. The government does not allege Jadell personally murdered Pinell, but rather that he and others within the AB orchestrated Pinell's death. Okay? Now, Jadell contends that to orchestrate Pinell's death at the hands of two other men who are defendants in the case. Again, statements to support that theory of the case. Jadell cites 5 documents containing what he describes as evidence Littrell repeatedly confessed to law enforcement officers homicide. This first is September 2015 report. It describes a CDCR interview of Littrell in California State Prison, Sacramento, a few weeks after Pinell's death. According to the report, CDCR had validated Littrell as a full member of the Aryan Brotherhood since the late 1980s. It is believed that he was very well known among his peers and superservient white inmates. The report also notes Littrell's dedication, loyalty, and participation in criminal and felonious activities for the betterment of the Aryan Brotherhood, which had led federal authorities to indict him alongside several others, right? Now, after the officer told Littrell he wanted to discuss the riot incident in which Pinell died, Littrell quickly responded by volunteering several statements. First, he said Pinell was on the Aryan Brotherhood's enemy list and should not have been put on that yard. This statement referred to a CDCR decision to transfer Pinell from a more secure housing unit into the general population a few months before. Pinell described Pinell as disrespectful disrespectful to multiple prison gangs and to CDC officers and as dislike to his own people. So right here, basically, it's saying that basically, Yogi, after years in solitary, was starting to become hated by many people, which I've heard that from several people. Third, Latrell said his own housing conditions would have been better. That is, Latrell would have been transferred to a higher security housing unit with the prison after Pinell's murder. So basically, Latrell was already requested to be transferred. Okay, if Pinell's own people had taken care of him, you know what I'm saying? Okay, hold on, let me rephrase that. He said, Latrell said his own housing conditions would have been better. That is, Latrell would not have been transferred to a higher security unit within the prison after Pinell's murder. But Pinell's own people had taken care of him. And finally, Latrell said he thought the situation would work itself out, as it always does, especially when the other guys, prominent gang members, that had eventually come down from another prison to talk it out. Beyond this, however, Latrell refused to engage. The random report discusses relationships between prison gangs and whether Latrell or other white inmates were at risk of a retaliation. So here you have it, guys. This is way more we're going to discuss right now, but this is first breakdown part. This guy's an active AB member, the leadership, right? And he's actually talking with the gang task force here, and he still thinks he's in good standings. Now, we're going to continue on. This is all documented. This is all right here in the Court of Appeals from November 8th, 2004, guys, or 4th. Now, the second document is another CDCR report. This one dated June 2016, almost a year after the first. It details an interview in a different prison, Kern Valley, right? According to that report, after he was transferred, this is Latrell, had come to CDC officers with concerns about his safety. He did not want to participate or engage in Aryan Brotherhood politics any longer and was requesting sensitive knee guard placement. A week later, staff gave him a debrief autobiography instruction. These terms, debrief and autobiography, refer to a formal administrative process within the California prison system. In the process, correctional investigators determine whether inmates have dropped out of a prison gang. The process includes an interview phase intended to obtain an autobiography of a person's involvement with the gang and information about the gang structure, activities, and affiliates. See, that's what I've always said, right? Anybody that says if you break them, they only tell them themselves they're full of shit, man. You have to give autobiography. They will return it if it's not up to par. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about the debriefing process. I've never been through it, but I've heard people talk about it and say if they only told them themselves, and I disagree. You have to give up some type of info if you're going to be debriefing. Anyways, reports of debriefing process are confidential by definition. And see, that's the key thing. Is see anybody that has debriefing and has saying that, it's because we're never going to have access to see what they actually say, right? In addition, prison officials must not make decisions based on these reports, as is true of other confidential sources. Unless the documentation corroborates information from a source or unless other circumstantial evidence and documented reliability of sources satisfies that decision maker that information is true. Now, regulations list several criteria to establish whether confidential information. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit forward with this, guys. Okay, according to the June 16th, Latrell completed an autobiography. Investigators reviewed it and asked him for a more in-depth autobiography. Latrell indicated in response he didn't want to provide any more information until he talked to an attorney. But he did explain more about Pinell's death. According to the report, Latrell told interviewer Pinell had been disrespectful to the wife of an Aryan Brotherhood member during her visit. Now, that's the first time I've ever heard that, guys. I knew that he had been disrespectful and had done certain things, but I never knew that he has allegedly crossed the lines as far as disrespecting an AB member's wife. Okay? Latrell asked a shop caller among the black inmates to handle Pinell. So apparently this happened in New Folsom. Not up in the Pelican Bay, not where he was for years, but in New Folsom. The CDC officer understood this to mean that Latrell was asking the leadership of the Black Prison Gang to assault Pinell and remove him from the facility. The shop caller refused Latrell's request, and so according to the report, Latrell began planning Pinell's murder. I ordered the hit of Pinell. He told two other men to get him and don't stop till he's dead. The third and fourth documents in the site in the motions are the handwritten autobiographies Latrell prepared in response to the CDCR request. So I want to know how fucking Young got all this information. I mean, if you look at Young, he has about fucking 20 lawyers working for him, man. So there's something going on to where they believe him and a lot of things that have been going on. And like I said, he's been the recent account of numerous stories, right? And what Yandell's trying to bring forth is he's trying to bring forth this individual had admitted that he was the sole person who made this decision, and he went through the process and procedure, and that this individual who's now deceased is the one that actually called the shot. And what the federal government is doing is they're trying to stop this from Yandell being able to use this type of information in trial. Now, I guarantee you, if this information would have worked in their interest, for the federal government, they wouldn't be contesting it. But this right here would pretty much find him pretty much innocent of the charges, as well as his co-conspirators to commit, murder towards Yogi. It seems like Mr. Jerry Latrell has admitted that he acted on his own behalf, and he's passed away. Now, the court has not summarized those handwritten accounts here as a fifth document. Another prepared several months later in February 2017, but itself prepared as the solution of that autobiography and contains all the information material for Yandell's current motion. Like the first two exhibits, the fifth is the CDCR investigative report. At 145 pages, it is much longer than the first two, which were only 3 and 5 pages long, respectively. So the first two were only 3 and 5 pages, but the second, now it's 145. Okay, so the fifth 2017 report states that CDCR investigators conducted morning interviews with Latrell over 4 days in September and October. By that point, about a year had passed since Pinell's death. Other reports state Latrell expressed concerns the information provided will be used against him in future prosecution. It appears, however, the investigators assumed he is concerned by informing him of CDCR's policy 16 summarized above that debriefing sessions are not for the purpose of acquiring incriminating evidence against the subject, but instead to learn about the subject and the subject's current gang. In order to protect the person from retaliation and to reclassify that person. The remainder of the report is broken into several sections: a short profile of Latrell, a description of his motivation for leaving the gang, a list of common terms, acronyms related to the AB, a history of Latrell's gang activity over many years of his incarceration, list of other Aryan Brotherhood members and associations, a description of Aryan Brotherhood structure, organization, practice, codes, rules, tactics, addresses, weapons, goals, symbols, allies, enemies, murders, and other information. With a list of other information about events in the CDCR files, lists of other inmates with possible safety concerns. The final report, lengthy catalog of Latrell's gang activity, includes more details about the events surrounding Pinell's death. It includes, for example, different claims about Latrell's plan and some statements by Latrell about internal communications with the Aryan Brotherhood. For example, it relates to Latrell accounts of calls with other influential Aryan Brotherhood members on contraband cell phones that occurred soon before Pinell's death, and the reactions of those other gang members after Pinell's death. Yandell and his co-defendant in the case, William Sylvester, were among the other Aryan Brotherhood members Latrell identified. According to the report, likens his reception with the Aryan Brotherhood after Pinell's death to a hero's welcome. Hey, you know what? Let's keep it 100, guys. As we already know, they've been trying to kill Yogi for a long time, man. So even though these guys, whether they had interactions or not, I'm pretty sure that none of these guys were crying over the death of Yogi. Let's just keep it real. And I'm not saying Yogi deserved to die either. I'm just keeping it 100, though. Now, the report also analyzes Latrell's statements about his motivations for dropping out of the Aryan Brotherhood, and likewise for speaking to CDCR investigators. 8182. After he was transferred to Trin Valley, he suffered a heart attack and was hospitalized for a week. Soon after he returned to prison from the hospital, he began to suspect he was falling out of favor with the Aryan Brotherhood. Now, this is the common fucking paranoia that all people who have, acquired some type of leadership or a position within an organization, and they start to feel the force of being forced out, politics against and whatnot, they get paranoid. It's a paranoid lifestyle playing prison politics. Trust me on that. He feared the gang had even targeted him for murder. A member of another person's gang had contacted his sisters to request money. A member of another prison gang had contacted his sister to request money, which led him to fear the Aryan Brotherhood had decided not to protect him any longer. Without that protection and in failing health, he could not defend himself any longer. Latrell later died while still incarcerated. No party has suggested his death was a result of anything but natural causes. In March 2024, after trial, June's case has begun in February. The government moved to the mine to preclude him from introducing hearsay statements made by Gary Latrell Trail about his role in the murder of Hugo Pinell. Okay, yeah. This is going further, man. They have to go further procedures for it, but basically what this is, man, I mean, I want to know what evidence that they had of him being involved in the Yogi murder. I don't think really there's any type of information that really concrete shows that they are guilty of that. We already know the intentions. We already know the relationships that each AB member has, and that how the rules and conduct of an AB member goes, right? But with this situation, man, I mean, this case has been a sticky case for a long time. There's all kinds of interesting components and dynamics to it, man. And like I've always said, man, I think that this one's like a case for fucking, like, literally for like a movie, you know. And even with this Hugo situation, I don't really think personally that Yandel and other people, Sylvester and all these guys that are included, I don't think that they're guilty of the charges that pertain to Yogi. I think Yogi was already put on a green light list for years before even some of these guys became AD members. Okay, that's how long there's been a hate for this guy. It was not that long ago in the 1980s they tried to take Yogi's life. And there's been a green light on him. And in addition to this, it says that he disrespected another AD member's wife, you know, during a visit, and that Garrett Luttrell got at, you know what I'm saying, his people to deal with him. You know, and, you know, like we always said, typically a lot of times people don't want to deal with their own. And maybe they didn't think it held merit. Maybe they thought the AD wasn't going to take action. But, you know, when it comes to certain AD members, and when they want to push that line, they're going to push that line. They're going to pull the trigger regardless of the consequences and regardless of who it's against. And this was relatively early. This was right during the anti-all hostilities when it all started coming out. So a lot of people thought that this was going to have a backlash effect, but I think because they went through the proper procedures. I didn't know that they actually got at the black leadership. I didn't know about the visit part. I thought that they went on their own and pretty, you know, ran renegade. I had heard that maybe, you know, ran renegade from typical prison politics. Now, I had heard before that potentially some of his people may have thrown him under the bus. There's been rumors about that. But it just seems like, according to the information that we have here so far, you know, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot more information on will corroborate this story, and it makes more sense. I mean, you know, if he's holding the membership of as an AD member at that facility, he can make that call. That individual Gary Littrell, he could have made that call. He didn't have to ask for anybody else's permission or anything to take action. And I think you know, the statements, you know, heroes welcome and so forth was just an acknowledgement of him taking care of AB business, you know. And like I said, I don't encourage violence. I don't encourage the act to happen on Yogi, but this was a life that some individuals choose, and this is the consequences and things that happen. And in this AB case alone, I mean, right now they're beefing amongst each other. You know, last I heard they were trying to force Renegade out, Yandel. You know, and there was challenges with the state commission, you know, and a lot of beef in when they were in the courtrooms. They were fucking arguing amongst each other, and these are active AV members that are arguing. On top of that, you've had a long list of individuals who have flipped. That said, man, maybe we got some answers. Maybe more court documents are going to be disclosed, you know, to give us more light on what really happened with that former BGF member Yogi Pinell. With that said, your boy Flaco,